quite a scary day from the markets yesterday, not only in crypto but in the stocks. So I'm gonna be showing you guys what's on the charts here and what I think could be happening next, as well as the confirmations on the charts that I'll be looking for in order to see if upside, if the rebound is more likely, or if downside is more likely. I'm going to be talking about Solana and Ethereum later in this video, as well as a follow-up to my previous video, and see what has changed with Ethereum and Solana. And I'm going to also be covering some headlines here, as well as responding to viewer comments. I do that every Wednesday and Saturday, so I will do that for you guys right after talking about Bitcoin here, because Bitcoin is still the driver of this crypto market. If Bitcoin has more room to pump, that is going to be good for a lot of these altcoins. However, if Bitcoin still dumps from here, which there is still a chance, right? That's not going to be good for these altcoins. So let's go ahead and talk about Bitcoin first. This is the weekly time frame. Okay, weekly time frame. I talked about a rising wedge pattern, which has been the main topic here and the main focus, because we broke down from this pattern here a couple of weeks ago, and we have a confirmed breakdown. Breakdown target is going to be about $80,000 Bitcoin. If Bitcoin continues towards that path, that is not going to be good for a lot of these altcoins here. I talked about yesterday that we still have some support at the 103,000 level, which is basically your weekly 50 SMA. I don't expect that to be very strong support, and here is why. It's because Bitcoin has already touched down on this support 3 times. This is the 3rd time on this trend. When you keep hitting a support, it gets weaker. So my expectation is this is likely not going to hold the weekly 50 SMA. The next key support levels, of course, is going to be, you're going to get it at 100,000. Okay, that is basically where Bitcoin is getting support at right now. If Bitcoin does not hold at 100,000, I am looking at the monthly 21 SMA, which Bitcoin has not touched during this trend. I would expect that to be very strong support. That's currently at about 87,000 right now. So, I mean, if we were to go down there, that is still a pretty steep way down. Now, I am long on quite a bit of the altcoins here, and I'm still bullish on this crypto market as a whole, with some key reasons to be because the Federal Reserve has just started its rate cut cycle. Even though, looking at December right now, we are looking at a lowered probability from yesterday at about 70% down to about almost 65% now, okay, which is still a pretty overwhelmingly probable Federal Reserve rate cut, okay, for December, but those probabilities do change. So very important to be keeping an eye out on the CME watch tool, okay. All right, let's go ahead and take a look into the daily time frame for Bitcoin, which I talked about yesterday, that there was a breakdown of a head and shoulders pattern here with the support at about 106,000. Bitcoin went all the way down to about 99,000. Okay, I did put in a short at about 102,000 as a hedge because I saw this breakdown here, a falling wedge pattern. Now, it did stop out my short position, and I'm fine with that because the reason why I'm hedging is because I want to create a win-win scenario for myself, okay? Even though I am long on Bitcoin on the longer term, we're seeing some short-term pain right now, especially during the sideways markets. So I wanted to hedge my long positions with a short position, and I was more than glad to see my short position get liquidated because the increase in value of my long positions will offset my loss in my short positions way over offsets. Okay. I am also looking to take a short position at about the 106,000 level, which is basically the neckline of that head and shoulders pattern we broke down from. that is a potential idea I'm looking into. Okay, I'm gonna be taking a look into. I'm gonna be tracking this the shorter time frame here to get a confirmation if I would be doing that. But it will be the same reasoning. Of course, these are just what I'm doing, what I'm personally doing, and the entirety of this video is purely my opinions only. It's not financial advice. You guys gotta form your own opinions and strategies. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take away this falling wedge pattern here because it basically has invalidated it, okay? What I'm going to be looking at as a confirmation that Bitcoin could be breaking, could be rebounding from this huge breakdown here would be a break outside of this falling wedge pattern, this bigger falling wedge pattern. Okay, this bigger falling wedge pattern, which also means that it does have to break back above 106,000, okay, at some point. Right, so that is basically what I'm looking for as a confirmation, a break out above this falling wedge pattern that would tell me that this is going to be more likely that this is going to be rebounding and potentially not going towards 80,000. However, if Bitcoin actually breaks this bottom trend line here, then that is also a confirmation of a higher likelihood that we're going to be continuing towards that breakdown target, okay, with some supports I talked about. Let's go ahead and go to news, okay. This is by the block. Metaplanet borrows $100 million against its Bitcoin holdings to buy the dip. It's good to see that there are still bullish players in this market, okay. You're going to have your big players like Michael Saylor, Metaplanet, okay, and then you're going to have the retail investors like me and you, right, who have mixed opinions. I've been sharing my opinions with you guys and why I'm still bullish on this market, even though in the short term, I think we might still see some more pain, okay? Next one here is by Cointelegraph. Bitcoin price rebound stops at 103,000 with 30% of Bitcoin supply underwater. What does this person mean, underwater? Okay, let's take a look into some of the key points here. Bitcoin struggles to recoup losses that sparked multi-month lows under 100,000. Traders hope that whales will push the market higher to neutralize late shorts, okay? Almost 1/3 of the Bitcoin supply is now held at an unrealized loss, okay? So Bitcoin rebounded to 103,000 at Wednesday's Wall Street open as traders took more heavy losses. And Bitcoin bull case eyes short liquidity clusters. I think that means a potential short cover, right? Covering the shorts at about 100,000. That's basically the short sellers taking profits that could potentially be why we're seeing this rebound, right? A rebound above 106,000 would be a good sign, and of course a break out of this falling wedge pattern. Let's see which way it actually breaks. Okay, would this be just a very short bounce here before continuing lower? So yeah, I'm going to be sharing with you guys my updates. Let's go ahead and go to viewer comments. All right, viewer comments. This one says, I believe Kava will be huge. Type AI, what are your thoughts? Let me go ahead and take a review on Type AI tomorrow, okay? And yeah, I mean, I do think a lot of these altcoins will bounce back when Bitcoin bounces back. I'm still holding on to my bags here. Let's go ahead and go to the next one. Can we have an update on Akash? Yeah, I'm gonna be doing an update on Akash later today. What makes crypto drops this month? Well, it's gonna be the technical pattern. Okay, that the rising wedge is basically playing out. Next one here, it says, dude is nuts. All right. Next one doesn't say anything. The next one just says, just subscribed. More ICP, please, and thank you. Yes, if you guys want to see more ICP, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. I will bring you guys ICP if enough of you guys want to see it. Let's go ahead and go to Ethereum and see what's happening with Ethereum. Okay. I talked about a double bottom here on Ethereum a couple days ago that got invalidated. Okay, and because we have seen quite a bit of downwards price action in the crypto markets. Now, it's very important to know that these patterns that I mentioned and technical analysis patterns, even though they have a higher chance of breaking in one direction, they still have a small chance that they break to the other direction. And in this case, with Ethereum, that double bottom broke to the downside, okay, which is not as likely as breaking to the upside, but it does happen. We're all just talking about probabilities here. Nothing in this market is for certain, okay? Now, what could be happening with Ethereum here is I am looking at a falling wedge pattern, okay? And if Ethereum breaks out by this point, for example, price target would be almost $5,000 Ethereum. Let's see if it gets there. It's trying to hold on to that daily 200 SMA, the orange line here at about 3,400. Okay, so this is what I'm seeing for Ethereum. I am long on Ethereum as well, and I am looking to get back into a long position with Bitcoin at some point. Let's take a look into Solana and see what's happening with Solana here. I want to mention that price targets are also estimates only. There could be more, there could be less. For these altcoins, a lot of which does depend on what happens with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin starts dumping from here, these altcoin setups, they're not going to matter very much. Let's go ahead and go to Solana here, where there was also a double bottom pattern I mentioned last time, but it also broke to the downside. Okay. Now, a lot of these altcoin setups, they dumped because Bitcoin dumped. So very important to pay attention to Bitcoin first. I never trade altcoins without a clear understanding of Bitcoin. Now, this is Solana now. It is also running within a falling wedge pattern. If Solana breaks out by this point, for example, price target would be about 200 and almost above $245 Solana. Let's see if it's able to break out of this falling wedge pattern and go towards that price target. So this basically wraps it up for today's update. Let me know if you guys want to continue seeing any more of course, Bitcoin. I'm going to keep doing Bitcoin anyways, Ethereum, Solana, or any other coins in this market by dropping a like, comment, subscribe. I'll pick a request to do for you guys on a daily basis, and I'll see you on the next one.